The United Nations estimates that as many as 40,000 people were killed in the final phase of a war between Sri Lanka's majority Sinhalese and the Tamil minority. Another 5,000 are reported missing. The hostilities finally came to an end 7 years ago when government forces overtook the last area controlled by the Tamil Tiger rebels. Fast forward to the 2015 election, when amid charges of corruption, human rights abuses and growing authoritarianism, former Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa lost his bid for a third term in a stunning upset. The winner, former Health Minister Maithripala Sirisena, has pledged to persuade his Sinhalese followers to support a new constitution that shares some central government powers with minorities. But considering the lingering animosity between the Tamils and majority Sinhalese, the question is, after a quarter century of conflict, can true reconciliation be achieved? Joining us now is the Sri Lankan ambassador to the United States, Prasad Kariyawasam. Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Let me start by posing that question that we did at the outset of the show, and that is reconciliation possible in Sri Lanka? Right now, your government is proposing changes to the country's constitution, which would give certain powers, some powers, to the country's minority Tamil group. What kinds of changes are you talking about?
Well, first, reconciliation is eminently possible for several reasons. Sri Lanka went through a 30-year conflict, and that ended in 2009. And people of north, south, east, west of the country all welcome that there is no more violence in the country. They were seeking a peace dividend in terms of both social justice and development. The government then, of course, did the work on development. They did the rehabilitation, resettlement of IDPs, reconstruction. They did all that. Although the reconciliation part was somewhat missing. And as a result, in 2015, a new government was elected, a monumental change, a paradigm shift. And that government's policies, reconciliation and development together. And in last year, August, they set up, for the first time in our history, a unity government comprising of both major opposing parties. UNP, led by Prime Minister Wickremesinghe, and the SLFP, led by President Sirisena, both got together and formed one government. And that government, of course, now opposition is the Tamil National Alliance. Now, these three formations are working together.
Does it include members of the Tamil Alliance, this government?
TNA is in the opposition. Tamil National Alliance is the main opposition party. But now if you take the government budget was passed by the support of the opposition as well. So 2/3 majority was there for the budget. So for reconciliation process to move on, you need 2/3 majority in the parliament for sure, because reconciliation includes a peace dividend in terms of development, in terms of justice, dignity for people, and with regard to the devolution, sharing of powers with the region and communities. Now, when you try to say minorities in Sri Lanka, is not only Tamils, there are Muslim groups. 10%, nearly 10% of our population is now Muslim, and 12% is Tamil. So therefore, it's an equal. We need to have devise constitutional mechanisms that will empower people in the regions.
So what are these constitutional amendments that the government is proposing?
Government has already done one amendment, 19th Amendment, as soon as they were elected. That included setting up independent commissions on each and every important governance aspects. For public service, for justice, for police, all now set, and then the judiciary was made totally independent. That is set. Now the parliament has been made a constitutional assembly. Idea is to create a constitution that will suit this century and take care of the reconciliation aspect as well, which means sharing of power, devolution of power, both at the center and the region. Now the government is working on it. Government has done, unlike last time, government has done something very smart. Those days, all the constitutions, 72 constitution, 78 constitution, were all top-down. This government is making it bottom-up by appointing public consultation process for constitutional reform. That has happened, and they have come up with a set of recommendations with public view. So they have a document in hand that describes what public needs. And on that basis, a committee has been, steering committee of 21 people have been appointed, and they are going to look at all the critical issues that requires
Right,
change.
these amendments are currently stalled in committee. When can we expect them to be implemented?
They are not stalled. Committees are discussing these issues. By December, government expects to have a draft, and then government should muster two-third majority and then go to a referendum. So that is the plan of the government. Nothing has been told. Everything is moving smoothly in our perspective.
There has been a report which was released by the International Crisis Group, which is a very respected group that concerns international affairs, at the beginning of last month, and that report says that pledges by the Sri Lankan president to bring about reconciliation and accountability remain largely unaddressed. What is the government doing to address that?
We don't share that view, because if you ask our international partners, they would not say that. They have in fact said something to the contrary, that within a year, Sri Lanka has achieved a lot of promises. Yes, we have a plan of action. We are sequencing the achievements to make it work. We need to be mindful. Fast is not always success. You need to have a broad-based approach to bring everyone together, so that whatever we set up will become a successful model that will stand the test of time. For instance, we just gazetted Parliament to approve Office of Missing Persons. That's the most important element in our country, because we have missing persons coming from 2 insurgencies in the south and 1 in the north. So we are going to address that very seriously, and then Tamil National Alliance has agreed with that draft.
Right, but one of the complaints against that Office of Missing Persons, which you've established, is that you're not talking to the families of the people missing.
Which is, unfortunately, that is not true, because we have done that. That's only, these are speculations.
Well, it's Human Rights Watch, which is also a respected human rights watch.
And we have responded to that. We have responded to that, and then and we have responded with statistics how we had done the consultations. So on the one hand, people are asking us to do fast. On the other hand, when we do it fast, they complain. When we keep consulting, they say we have not done anything. Of course, that's the way the world works. But we did this fast, having a quick consultation. So now we are being blamed for that. So we are sequencing these things.
Right. Now, in the interests of reconciliation, of accountability, the Sri Lankan government has agreed to a UN Human Rights Council resolution which mandates, and I'm quoting here, the creation of various transitional justice mechanisms, including an accountability mechanism for war crimes. Your government says that it's embarked on a national consultation, which you've just talked about a moment ago, and said that it would report to the Human Rights Council this month. What is the status of that report?
No, that's not the way it is. Actually, High Commissioner for Human Rights will have to report to the Council as to how Sri Lanka has implemented the resolution. High Commissioner will do that. Of course, our minister will be there, and we will also say what we have done. But then we have until next March to come up with our own achievement report. So, but we think we have done well. We have not missed a single step that what we have promised in the resolution.
But what could you tell me about the establishment of these transitional justice mechanisms that the Council calls for?
We have now established Missing Persons Office. That's one. Right. Then we are working with the UN. We have invited all the special rapporteurs of the UN involved in issues that are relevant to Sri Lanka to work with us. So they are already, international experts are working with Sri Lanka. And we have now finished the missing persons. We have to then look at the truth-seeking mechanism. We'll have to look at justice mechanism. Those consultations are taking place under a task force for consultation comprising of civil society leaders who are now at that. And in addition, we have also commenced a web-based consultative process for international community, anyone to give us ideas. So we will then go into that at some point.
Now, as you are aware, there have been serious allegations made against the Sri Lankan armed forces, as well as the Tamil rebels as well. But I want to ask you about these allegations made against the Sri Lankan armed forces. A government-appointed judge said that these allegations are, to use his words, credible. The UN has also released a report. Is your government open to an international investigation?
Government is open to having a domestic investigative mechanism with international support. That is what we promised to the UN, and that's what we are going to do.
So this international support that you talk about, would these include international judges, prosecutors, and investigators?
That will be decided by once the consultation process is over. At the moment, we are doing consultations as to what's the best mechanism, but it will be a domestic mechanism, not international mechanism, domestic mechanism strengthened by the participation of international experts.
How does your country move forward from this civil war?
We have moved very well. We have, with 30 years of conflict, within 1 year, we have undone a lot. If you look at the set of achievements Sri Lanka has done, it's monumental. I'll give you one simple example. We just ratified the Convention Against Enforced Disappearances. Not many countries, not even US or many Western countries haven't done that. We are one of the very few countries in the world who has ratified all the core human rights convention now. So we have taken paradigm shift with regard to that. In fact, my minister was in Oslo last week, be the key speaker of abolition of death penalty in the world. We take lead in human rights issues. Now we are on a path, not only on reconciliation, on a path of human rights, path of humanitarian promotion, both locally and internationally.
Right, you say you've made great progress. Is the Sri Lankan government talking to Tamil leaders in the country, not just political leaders, but the people who are affected by this war?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes. President himself does that. He visits Jaffna often. He goes to Trincomalee often.
That's the Northern Territory where the
Yes, of course. And he's welcomed there like a hero by the public. That's the good side of it. In fact, just the other day, President Sirisena and Prime Minister Modi jointly open a stadium in Jaffna, reconstructed stadium, Durayappa Stadium. So that's something that there are initiatives like that are happening in the country. And travel is free in the country. There is no violence anywhere. Anyone can go. Visas are given for any party to go, even Channel 4. Everybody can go. There is no ban on any travel or no media censorship, nothing.
In this process of reconciliation, how important is accountability to your government? Because in many respects, are we going to see people being brought to justice?
That is the intention of the government, because they will have truth-seeking mechanisms first, which will give room to assess with how to craft the justice mechanism in a manner that anyone who is accused of wrongdoing has to face justice.
What are your country's priorities right now?
Give a peace dividend to people who have suffered for 30 years, both in the north, south, and east. And we need to give that to people quickly. For that, we have to promote both reconciliation and development. Development is very important because, for instance, Northern Province are lagging behind. There's a lot of needs for livelihood support for people. So we appeal for international community and the friends to support those initiatives because we need to take them up. And that is our priority at this point.
Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.